What's going on, everybody? Mortem here, this time bringing you my review after 100% for Wolong Fallen Dynasty, a Souls-like set in the Three Kingdoms period of China with a dark fantasy twist. But to get my usual stuff out of the way, I review games after 100% all the time to set me apart from other reviewers on YouTube. And while that does include the achievements, it also includes a lot more than that. And if you're curious about everything that entails, there's a video linked in the description below. And if you're not subscribed, you can go to my channel and it'll be the first video you see as well. Furthermore, my Steam profile is public and linked in the description below. And the last thing I need to mention up front is that I did receive
Hey Deckers, with the latest
key
update from Proton Experimental, if you turn on the compatibility for Wolong Fallen Dynasty's demo now, it will get past the intro and you can now get on and create your character. Be warned though, this is still quite hefty on the performance side, and even when you get into game and turn everything to performance mode, the performance is not as great as we would hope. Even capping this at 30 frames per second in best performance mode with everything on low, it struggles to hold 30 frames per second. It is playable, it does seem to steady out the more that you play, so I'm guessing this is a shader cache issue, and hopefully they'll get this resolved when the main game launches, but it is quite stuttery and it is really off-putting, which will make you fail a few times before you can get the balance of the gameplay. Now this is extremely Souls-like, and if you do not like doing the same section over and over again because you made one silly mistake, then this definitely is not going to be the game for you. But as you can see,
Hovering ground. Starting construction on our infantry company. Look at that shit. It's not worth capturing.
Pioneers are reporting for duty.
Pioneers reporting in. Send word. Yeah, we'll capture it.
Pioneers standing by.
Infantry company. Completing supplies and capturing ground. Here we are. We can overcome anything. Secures that territory. Got it. Resources captured. Bring up support. In due course. Build this. Capture that.
Assault packages are available for Grenadier squads.
Pioneers have secured the location. No contacts. What is our assignment?
Grenadiers have been mustered for battle.
Location secured.
We're ready.
Defensive positions. There to there.
Frontline
Laying barbed wire.
Commandant.
Bring up support. How many pioneers does it take to capture a point?
Their men are ready. We are capturing their territory. Start stacking! That's enemy infantry! Keep them back! Grenade! Fuck! Get the blood flowing! Quick march!
Pioneers have secured the location. No contacts. You need on your feet, Pioneer. Checking supplies and capturing ground.
Standing by for... Kinder, watch your backs! That point doesn't belong to us!
Frontline territory captured, Commandant.
Pioneers ready. Look at that shit. It's not worth capturing.
See, Kinder? Now we've got cover.
MG-42 and crew available.
MG-42 team? Assemble
We will get... Location is out! Contacts! Achtung! Pioneers will get there!
You need us?
Take his position! Fight!
We are losing possession of a capture point.
What now? Capturing ground! Quick march! Come on! You heard?
Sector lost.
Why can't we have a little captain? Moving! Understood. Marching orders.
What is our
Sector
assignment?
secured.
What is
Everybody
starting
still
the
breathing?
advance?
Grenadiers! Grab your gear!
Bastards have secured our territory from us.
Move.
Send
Follow
her!
me.
Move orders! Get to it! Luftwaffe,
Company
put us to work!
there.
Starting the
Give us
advance!
a target.
Grenadiers,
In due
acknowledge.
course.
Awaiting orders.
They've seen us!
Grenadiers,
Move!
prepare to advance.
MG-42 and crew ready.
Support is inbound! Say
It
the
has
word!
to be.
Pioneer, enemy
Let's move.
entanglement! Standing by, Commandant! Pioneers, infantry on the ground!
Grenadiers, move those flags.
Pick it up! Move!
We have orders. MG-42 moving to coordinates.
Enemy troopers!
We await. We must, Grenadiers.
You need
Quick
demolition!
submission.
Moving on location!
Pioneer infantry killed.
Understood!
The infantry
now?
are trying to kill us.
Grenadiers!
Move.
Getting there fast as we can! Sound the retreat!
Grenadiers ready.
At once, Commandant.
Unit 2! Take possession in their absence!
Fall back! We can't stay here!
Grenadiers assembled. Victory
Grenadiers
point lost.
assembled at MP-40s and spare grenades. Lucky us. Come on your feet, soldiers.
We are at full complement.
Let's cover some ground. Try not to get lost. Let's go, Kinder. We're moving.
Resources captured. Bring up support.
We're ready.
A squad of Jäger has been requisitioned.
What are your orders? Verstanden. Check
Silence!
weapons and ammo.
Grenadiers, back to full strength. Commandant, Grenadiers, grab your gear.
Weapon team reinforced.
Pioneers, awaiting orders. Strike fear into their infantry. You have ordered. We're moving.
You
Nice
need us?
and
We're on
quiet.
the move. Follow me.
Jawohl. We're Jäger on the hunt. Pick up your feet. We're moving.
Mine laid.
MG.
Field medics will be deployed at the headquarters.
Pioneers ready. We'll raise the flag! Abort operations! Retreat! Sendra, on your feet, pioneers!
The men Grenadiers, prepare to advance. Achtung, march, Kinder! Grenadiers, really clear! Grenadiers! We move! Drop your rifles! We attack! Achtung!
We have finished the research.
MG-42, I've got the gun. Carrier, don't lag behind.
We await! We march, Grenadiers! Quit your bitching!
Yeah,
Grenadiers! Who goes that? Enemy concentration! Orders received! Let's push them! Rifle down rifle! Count your rounds! Grenadiers ready! Mostly able! Let's move!
Give us orders! It will be done! What is our
Covering
assignment? Jäger, ready to hunt!
MG gunner, take the lead. We move.
We're ready!
MG-42 and crew, ready. We can do that. Crew on
Light
me.
infantry ready!
Unit 2, requisitioning of Flammenwerfer. Pioneering enemy entanglement!
Follow me, pioneer!
Let's go, Kinder! We're moving!
You need them on it! Move it! Take the ground! Fix later!
Standing by for orders!
Keep it together!
MG-42 and crew, ready. This thing is heavy, you know.
Full tanks.
Save
You're too
yourself!
kind.
Get the blood flowing! Quick march!
Put us to work.
Silence! Let's cover some ground. Try
Jäger,
not to get lost.
standing by!
What is our assignment?
That's our grid point. Eyes on the horizon.
Stay low, goddammit! Covering ground. Pioneers are on it.
Move it! Don't let this weapon! Keep fighting!
Seize over here! Seize! Heading for counterattack!
More reinforcements.
Quick march! Come on! Diverting supply!
We have a surplus of command points available.
Not the Not for anything! Jawohl!
MG-42!
Carrying out orders!
Alright!
Yes! Reveal the position!
Retreat!
Acknowledge! Heading to designated grid
Standing
point!
by, Commandant.
Move it! Master!
Grenadiers ready!
Seize the work! Take and hold! Right there!
Command us!
Fire! Fury pioneer!
We're ready.
Territory taken!
Enemy infantry! Scheiße!
We're moving!
Standing march, Kinder! Like you really care!
Move orders! Get to it!
You're on the move. Follow me.
The enemy has taken a victory point.
Stand down!
Yeah, that's our grid point. Eyes on the horizon.
Achtung, Grenadiers! Orders, Grenadiers! We move! We Grenadiers, run! Run away!
You need understood.
Marching orders.
Come on, man.
Full formation.
Pioneers, in due course.
Advanced weaponry will soon be available.
We're moving.
Pioneers
Nice and
reinforced.
quiet.
Grab your tools.
Bring down the enemy, pioneers.
Stay low! Machine is our location! Follow me!
What now?
Getting there fast as we can! Pioneers will get there! Moving them now, but don't stop firing! There's no helping him!
We have advanced weaponry ready to be deployed.
Crew, ready.
We will get there.
Give us a target! Find that mission!
They are securing our capture point.
Commandant. Fall back to HQ!
Jäger! Don't throw fire! Quickly now, move! Jawohl! Moving getting a horse hate!
Grenadiers are mesmerized!
What's he trying to do?
Sector now under enemy control.
That's our location! Follow me! You
We need to
tools.
secure their sector.
Here we
Weapon
are!
crew on standby.
We are at full complement.
Best
I
behavior
want the
around
flag
the
raised.
lieutenant.
I man the gun.
Pioneers of the front to work on the
Research completed.
chance of being shot at. What are your orders? Standing by for Panzerschrecks.
Fall back. In good
Yeah,
order.
boy. We're ready for anything. This is enemy
We are
territory.
forming.
Stay alert. Tacticals. We will wrestle that point from them. Pioneers ready. It will soon be ours.
Awaiting order. On your feet,
Put us to
soldiers!
work. On your feet, pioneers.
The sector has been secured. Silence! Grenadiers ready!
Full warning. Attacking line. We're getting out of here. Move. Give us a target. Oh, we've got men.
We have command points that require use. A Wirbelwind is deploying to the field.
Wirbelwind and crew. Wirbelwind moving. What's the radio chatter?
Pioneer, in due course. We will get there. Deny that area, pioneers. What needs dealing with? Break them! Man down! He's dead! Pick it up! Move! Abort operations!
Retreat! This is it! Adjust fire! Wirbelwind engaged!
Send word. Over. Orders
Hatches closed. Watch for ricochet. Fuck the clutch! Move! Don't stop for anything! Wirbelwind engaged by ground targets. Confirm target. Fire! Like the wind! Full ahead! Keep the comms clear!
You have ordered. Watch your step. I don't want
MG-42 and crew, ready. I've got the gun. Carrier, don't lag behind.
Wirbelwind, hang on! Ahead!
secure those resources before they notice.
Awaiting orders. Confirming orders.
What is our assignment? We must secure that location.
Let's cover some ground. Try not to get lost. Grenadiers going on the offensive.
Jäger, we're moving. Nice and quiet. Panzer Grenadier Company, getting started.
Transponder! Full speed! Move! Main gun, raise 50! Fire infantry out of action! Without delay! Fire all! Gunners! No, we've destroyed the squad of infantry!
The men are ready.
That's our breadboard. What needs dealing? Moving on location.
The adversary is trying to take one of our points.
Get us moving! Close! Stop backseat driving!
Dropping that
Don't
flash
stop
here!
for anything! Hang on!
Grenadiers engaging enemy infantry!
Trick engaging a panzer!
Commander, we have command points that still requires... Enemy forces have claimed our territory.
Come on, driver! Get us
Our frontline pioneers are dead.
Finish the fight. Don't stop for the dead.
Get the blood flowing! Quick march!
Grenade!
Grenadiers, move those lads! Orders for us, Kinder! Don't break your knuckles!
Command points available.
Commander,
Our brave infantry has been killed.
Give us order! Move cover! Let's covering ground! Cross like this! Give us a target! Move, Jäger! Don't throw fire!
Stuck is reporting for duty.
They got me! Don't stop for anything!
Achtung,
Take
Cover,
cover!
Grenadiers!
Shift
We
right!
move!
Good work! Stand back!
Back
Make
on
us
the quickly now! Move!
Let's move! We must, Grenadiers! Quit your bitching!
Infantry firing on us! Quickly now! Move!
Front foot, fuck the clutch! Move!
points is under attack.
Full speed! Move! Get us moving! Take that infantry!
Awaiting a target.
Victory for our forces. We fought bravely.
Location is ours! Contacts! Achtung! Pioneers will get there!
You need us?
Take his position! Fight!
We are losing possession of a capture point.
What now? Capturing ground! Quick march! Come on! You heard?
Sector lost.
Why can't we have a little captain? Moving! Understood. Marching orders.
What is our assignment?
Secured.
What is starting the advance?
Grenadiers! Grab your gear!
Bastards have secured our territory from us.
Sandra, move orders! Get to it! Luftwaffe company put us to work! Starting the
Give
advance!
us a target.
Grenadiers!
In due
Acknowledged.
course!
Awaiting orders.
They've seen us!
Grenadiers!
Move!
Prepare to advance!
MG-42 and crew ready.
Support is inbound! Say the word! Pioneers! Enemy entanglement! Standing by, Commandant! Pioneers! Infantry have begun!
Grenadiers! Move those lads!
Pick it up! Move!
Got orders? MG-42 moving to
The
coordinate.
troopers! Enemy troopers!
We await remark, Grenadiers!
You need
Quick
demolition!
submission!
Moving on location!
Pioneer infantry kill.
Understood!
The infantry
now?
are trying to kill us!
Commander! Move! Getting there fast as we can! Sound the retreat!
Grenadiers ready!
At once, Commandant.
Units 2! Take
Grenadiers assembled. Victory
Grenadiers,
point lost.
assembled MP40s and spare grenades. Lucky us. Come on your feet, soldiers!
The art full complement.
Let's cover some ground. Try not to get lost. Let's go, Kinder. We're moving.
Resources captured. Bring up support.
We're ready.
A squad of Jäger has been requisitioned.
What are your orders? Verstanden. Check
Silence!
weapons and ammo.
Grenadiers! Back to full strength! Commandant, Grenadiers! Grab your gear!
Weapon team reinforced.
Pioneers, awaiting orders. Strike fear into their infantry. You have ordered. We're moving.
You
Nice
need us?
and
We're on
quiet.
the move. Follow me.
Jawohl. We're Jäger on the hunt. Pick up your feet. We're moving.
MG.
Field medics will be deployed at the headquarters.
Pioneers ready. We'll raise the flag. Abort operations. Retreat. Send word. On your feet, pioneers.
The men. Grenadiers! Prepare to advance! Achtung, march, Kinder! Grenadiers,
really
orders,
care.
Grenadiers! We
Come
move!
on,
Break your rifles! We attack! Achtung!
We have finished the research.
MG42. I've got the gap. Carrier, don't lag behind.
We await! We march, Grenadiers! Quit your bitching!
Jäger!
Grenadiers! Who goes that? Enemy concentration! Orders restrain! Let's race them! Right with our rifles! Count your rounds! Grenadiers ready! Mostly able! Let's move!
Give us orders! It will be done. What is our assignment? Jäger, ready to hunt!
MG Gunner, take the lead. We move.
We're ready.
MG42 and crew, ready. We can do that. Crew on
Light
me.
infantry ready. Unit 2, requisitioning of Flammenwerfer. Pioneering enemy entanglement. Follow me, pioneer.
Let's go, Kinder! We're moving!
You need demolition. Moving. Take the ground. Fix later.
Standing by for orders!
Keep it together.
MG42 and crew, ready. This thing is heavy, you know.
Full tanks.
Save
You're too
yourself!
kind.
Get the blood flowing! Quick march!
Put us to work.
Silence! Let's cover some ground.
Jäger,
Try not to get
standing
lost.
by. What is our assignment? That's our grid point. Ice on the right. Stay low, goddammit! Covering ground. Pioneers are on it.
Move it! Don't fight this weapon! Keep fighting!
Days of war. We're here! Seize! Heading for counterattack!
All replacements!
Quick march! Come on! Diverting supply!
We have a surplus of command points available.
Stop the Not for anything! Jawohl!
MG42.
Carrying out orders!
Alright.
Yes! Reveal the position!
Retreat!
Acknowledge! Heading to designated grid point! By, Commandant! Move it! Master!
Grenadiers ready!
Say the word! Take and hold! Right there!
Command us!
Fire! Fury Pioneer!
We're ready.
Territory taken!
Enemy infantry! Scheiße!
We're moving!
Standing march, Kinder! Like you really care!
Move orders! Get to it!
We're on the move. Follow me.
The enemy has taken a victory point.
Stand down!
Yeah, that's our grid point. I Eyes on the horizon.
Achtung, Grenadiers! Orders, Grenadiers! We move! We Grenadiers, run! Run away!
You need understood. Marching orders. Come on, men. Close formation.
Pioneers, in due course.
Advanced weaponry will soon be available.
We're moving. Nice and quiet.
Grab your tools.
Bring down the enemy, pioneers.
Stay low!
Machine on location! Follow me! What's up? Getting there fast as we can! Pioneers will get there! Don't stop firing! There's no helping him!
We have advanced weaponry ready to be deployed.
Crew, ready.
We will get there!
Give us a target.
They are securing our capture point.
Fall back to HQ!
Jäger! Don't throw fire!
Quickly now, move!
Jawohl! Moving dead now!
What's
West
ready?
Bank!
Some Emperor!
What's he trying to do?
Sector now under enemy control.
That's our location! Follow me!
Unit
We need to
2.
secure their sector.
Here we
Weapon
are.
crew on standby.
We are at full complement.
Best
I
behavior
will but
around
select
the
race.
lieutenant.
I'll man the gun.
Pioneers of the front to work on the
Research completed.
chance of being shot at.
What are your orders? Standing by for Panzerschrecks.
We'll fall back. In good
Jawohl.
order.
We're ready for anything. This is enemy
We have
territory.
correct
Stay
formation.
alert. Tacticals, we will wrestle that point from them.
Pioneers ready. It will soon be ours.
Awaiting order. On your feet,
Put us to
soldiers!
work. On your feet, pioneers.
The sector has been secured. Silence! Grenadiers ready!
Move orders.
Attacking line! Now! We're getting out of here! Move, give us a target! Oh, we've got men!
We have command points that require use.
A Wirbelwind is deploying to the field.
Wirbelwind and crew. Wirbelwind moving. Watch the radio chatter.
Pioneer, in due course. We will get there. Deny that area, pioneers. What needs dealing with? Strike them! Man down! He's dead! Pick it up! Move! Abort operations!
Retreat!
This is it! Adjust fire! Wirbelwind engaged!
Send word. Over. What is
Hatch is closed. Watch for ricochet. Fuck the clutch! Move! Don't stop for anything! Wirbelwind engaged by ground targets. Confirm target. Fire! Like the wind! Full ahead! Keep the comms clear!
You have ordered. Watch your step. I don't. MG-42 and crew, ready. I've got the gun. Carrier, don't lag behind.
Wirbelwind, hang on! Ahead!
Secure those resources before they notice!
Awaiting orders. Confirming orders.
What is our assignment? We must secure that location!
Let's cover some ground. Try not to get lost. Grenadiers going on the offensive.
Jäger, we're moving. Nice and quiet.
Panzer Grenadier Company, getting started.
Transponder, full speed! Move! Main gun, raise 50. Fire infantry out of action! Without delay! Fire all! Gunners! No, we've destroyed a squad of infantry!
The men are ready.
That's our breadboard.
What needs dealing? Move them on location!
The adversary is trying to take one of our points.
Get us moving! Close! Stop backseat driving!
Dropping like
Don't
flies
stop
here!
for anything! Hang on!
Engaging enemy infantry!
Strike engaging a panzer!
Commander, we have command point that still requires... Enemy forces have claimed our territory.
Come on, driver!
Our frontline pioneers are dead.
Finish the fight! Don't stop for the dead!
Get the blood flowing! Quick march!
Grenade!
Come on, Grenadiers! Move those lads! Orders for us, Kinder! Don't crack your knuckles!
Command points available.
Our brave infantry has been killed.
Give us orders! Smoke cover! Place covering ground! Fuck like this! That's a target! Move, Jäger! Don't throw fire!
Stuck is reporting for duty.
They got me! Don't stop for anything!
Achtung,
Take
den
cover!
Oberst Grenadiers!
Shift
We
right!
move!
Good work! Stand back!
Take down the quickly now! Move!
Stand, let's move! We must, Grenadiers! Quit your bitching!
Infantry firing on us! Quickly now! Move!
Flank the clutch! Move! We're eager to get moving. Moving it!
Don't give us orders! Rescue here!
One of our capture points is under attack.
Full speed! Move! Get us moving! Take that infantry!
Awaiting a target!
Victory for our forces. We fought bravely.
Location is out! Contacts! Achtung! Pioneers will get there!
You need us?
Take his position! Fight!
We are losing possession of a capture point.
What now? Capturing ground! Quick march! Come on! You heard?
Sector lost.
Why can't we have a little captain? Moving! Understood. Marching orders.
The dark fantasy and demons, etc. to it. But before we get into all of that, I would like to talk about the technical side of things. First and foremost, I played this game on PC, and if you've looked at the PC reviews for this game, it's got quite a few problems in that regard. Problems that make it very frustrating to play even beyond the scope of what you would expect from a Souls-like. Games that are known for being difficult, but the PC port of this game is in a rough place. So to outline some of those issues, first and foremost, we have the PC controls. Now, a lot of people will tell you to play this kind of game with a controller, and that is sound advice. I would absolutely recommend the same for most people. However, if you're like myself, I am infinitely more comfortable with a keyboard and mouse than I am with a controller, regardless of what game it is. So that's always going to be my go-to. So with that in mind, and having reviewed Souls-likes previously, Wolong has some of the worst PC controls I've seen for a game since the original Dark Souls was brought to PC. A lot of the buttons are not initially mapped in any kind of way that makes sense. The button prompts that are presented to try to teach you what to do when, as part of the prologue, are also really poorly explained. But let's be real, all of those problems could be solved by simply using a controller. What using a controller on PC will not fix, however, is the variety of other issues the game has. For starters, the frequent crashes. This game crashed more than a dozen times on me, almost always while the game was trying to play a cutscene, and occasionally this resulted in me having to re-defeat a boss. Eventually, after this kept happening, I just started skipping through the cutscenes and then going back to the main menu to watch them when I had a chance, because they will get saved there. In addition to this, the frame rate is unstable. You do have a variety of options here on PC, of course, and you can set the game to prioritize FPS or performance or the resolution, but even adjusting all of that, the frame rate will still dip considerably in certain levels in particular, while at the same time other levels would play almost flawlessly. So it was a weird mix of very unstable performance. In addition to that, the systems at play would sometimes just not work. For instance, locking onto an enemy would sometimes just stop working, meaning that the button to press to lock onto an enemy, even if they're right in front of you, just would not work. In addition to that, the key mapping for assigning a target switch would also just not work no matter what I assigned it to. The lock-on would only ever switch simply by moving the mouse in that general direction, which is a problem for a game that has multiple fast-moving enemies on screen sometimes. So all of that said, I think it's pretty obvious that Wolong Fallen Dynasty has a lot of problems on PC that can make the experience more difficult than it really should be. Because while Wolong is a Souls-like and that comes with a certain degree of difficulty, I would not call it a particularly difficult game. Which brings us to the difficulty and sort of New Game Plus section of the video. Now, initially there is only one difficulty, but once you beat the game, you'll unlock a new difficulty, kind of. The way the game is structured is mission-oriented, and once you beat the game, you can switch via the mission select to a harder version of those missions called Rising Dragon difficulty, which is this game's version of a New Game Plus. However, the only thing this really adds is new items, and as we'll get to in the itemization part of the video, that's not particularly interesting. But as for the rest of the game, the prologue and the first boss can certainly be challenging, as the first boss largely serves as a tutorial for the parry system. More often than not, this game wants you to parry as opposed to block. Specifically, they want you to parry critical blows, which are when the enemy flashes red and does some special attack. If you parry that, you'll counterattack and deal a bunch of damage. And the first boss serves as a tutorial for that mechanic. You basically can't progress until you learn it. Kind of literally, as you cannot leave the prologue or do anything else until that boss is defeated. However, at the same time, I would tell you, the first boss is the single most difficult boss in the game. Every other boss does not come anywhere close to the first one. In fact, the first boss is one of only a handful of bosses that have a second phase, and you have other options for the rest of the game as well. So the prologue is difficult, but it gets much easier afterwards. And while I can see what they were trying to do with the prologue, that first boss is not really representative of the difficulty for the rest of the game either. But speaking of the rest of the game, let's talk a little bit about the structure of this one as we move forward, because I think it's important to know. Wo Long uses a sort of mission structure. Now, initially, you're kind of just moving through the first couple of levels until you get access to the hidden village, which acts as a sort of hub area, which will allow you to go there, craft, deal with your inventory, talk to some NPCs, etc. And then you will select missions from here. You select missions by planting your battle flags, which you can rest at, and then level up, manage your reinforcements, travel to a different mission, etc. Much like every other Souls-like, resting at these will reset enemies in the area outside of select bosses, changes to the environment like unlocking shortcuts, etc. Planting the battle flags is also very important to the morale system, which we'll talk about in the combat section. Then just a quick note on character creation. You can create your own character, but keep in mind this is purely cosmetic, though you do have a wide variety of options, more than I was expecting, mind you. Though at least for me, this isn't the kind of game where I typically want to create my own character. Though one interesting thing is that they have you pick a sort of voice that will decide how your character sounds in combat, as there are no actual voice lines in the game, which felt like a slightly strange addition. But beyond that, a surprising amount of options for character creation, even if it is just a cosmetic choice. Let's talk progression systems. While Wo Long comes across as having a pretty deep set of progression systems initially, it's really not, especially when it comes to the itemizations, which I think is probably the weakest part of the game. But let's walk through the basics. Like every other Souls-like, we defeat enemies, gather experience from them, we spend this experience at the resting points to level our various attributes up, which in this case is called the 5 virtues or 5 phases. Each of these phases represents an element and corresponds to a few other things in the game. Most importantly though, weapon scaling. You'll start seeing diminishing returns for these investments pretty quickly, and by the time you put 30 points into something, your derivative stats will be getting less than half of the benefit, with the exception of damage scaling. So the damage scaling always works based off of the tier of scaling assigned to the weapon you're using, whereas the secondary stats, so to speak, will start to fall off as you put more points into a single phase. But this is sort of countered by the fact that most weapons scale off of multiple phases simultaneously, meaning that it doesn't pick your highest, but rather it uses both, or in some cases even 3. So this means in the early parts of the game, spreading out these attributes is usually the better way to go, because then you'll increase all those secondary bonuses at maximum benefit while still increasing your damage via the weapon scaling, as long as you're paying attention to what phases your weapons are actually scaling off of. The virtues are also tied to a handful of other systems like resistance and damage, especially when it comes to wizardry. Every 5 levels, you'll be given a point per phase to learn wizardry for that particular element.